Expand themselves. I think that's very deserving. I'm not giving up on this team. Is that ridiculous? No. What did Riley Rod think of the game? You guys can talk to Riley Rod. Riley Rod, get over here right now. Riley Rod, you're gonna get in the chair. I'll be back in like 20 seconds, Chad. Dude, my God. Bro, what is going on? Bro, what the? Yo! No way! No way! Go, baby! Let's go!
Riley Rod, why are you such a toolbag? I'm not a toolbag.
Let's go! Hey! Get high! No way! No way! No way! No way! No way! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live as usual. I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy, joined tonight by the man himself. It's been a while with the man, Jay Lonzo. How are we doing tonight?
What's going on, Pat? It's good to be back. I'm glad to be back in familiar territory. It's good to see you.
Does it feel like, all right, the only thing that I could kind of like compare it to in your eyes, right? Because now this is like the third episode in a row we have like one of you guys from the past. Does it feel like you started off with a team, you got traded, and now you're back?
That's a good question. I feel like
or another scenario that I kind of think could be right. You broke up with your girlfriend, then you tried out the other waters, they weren't too good, and now you're going back to her.
You know what? I'd compare it more to like, you know, you get called up from the minor leagues, you're off to a hot start, and then almost more like you land on the IL. I feel like we had like a little bit of a Clint Frazier experience. You know, we were down in Scranton, and it feels good to be back with the boys.
Yeah, no, it feels really good, bro. Now, listen, appreciate you all in the chat for stopping by. I know it's lockout season. I know it's boring times as far as baseball goes, but I'm here every Monday, every Thursday. You guys know the deal. And Dan A starts things off with a bang. Pat, stop telling everyone that girlfriend comparison. Bro, it's a really good comparison. Don't care what you say. But, bro, listen. Today's main topic is going to be Freddie Freeman to the Bronx, whether or not that's a realistic possibility. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss a bunch of other things, I'm sure. Maybe we'll get into some Sesame Street discussion. Maybe we'll get into some NFL discussion. I don't know. We'll see where life takes us, and then we'll travel down that road.
It's exciting.
Before we get into anything, though, let's take attendance / roll call. You guys know the deal. We got Lori Mod of the Century. Love you, Lori. We got Hector Chibuzi. Who else? We got AB. We got Dan A. We got JT. Andrew. Benji. Molly. We got Yankee. Appreciate you all for stopping by. If I miss anyone, you guys know the deal. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Strongly worded email to unhingedservice@gmail.com, and you might get a high five in return. I don't know. But yo, Jalen, like I said, main topic of the day here, Freddie Freeman. He's a free agent. And the Yankees maybe have a hole at first base. Last episode we did was all about whether or not Luke Voit has a future in the Bronx. I guess this kind of compares to it. Because if Luke Voit doesn't have the future in the Bronx, then the Yankees have a wide open hole at first base. But as of now, I'm kind of viewing it as no, Luke Voit doesn't have a future in the Bronx, so therefore, aka hole open at first base. Do I see Freddie Freeman being a large possibility as far as filling that hole? Not really. But is it possible? Sure. I would say the Yankees are one of the very few teams across Major League Baseball that, one, have a spot open for Freddie Freeman, and two, have the money possible to make that contract happen, right?
Yeah, I think, okay, it's interesting because we've kind of been going into this like Yankees have a first base black hole for, I guess, since we traded for Anthony Rizzo. We knew that Anthony Rizzo was kind of a rental, but we thought once he started playing well, maybe he's going to come back. He might resign. He went on Ian Happ's podcast saying he liked playing there. Ian Happ has talked about, you know, they're close, so they said he loved playing with the Yankees. So that was kind of like a thing we were all saying, like, bring back Rizzo, re-sign Rizzo. We loved his at-bats. And then the season kind of ended, and it was Matt Olson. And it was, we remember the whole one yard line thing, or the goal line thing, where we thought we were going to get Matt Olson for a night. Well, some of us did, at least. So Matt Olson was the hot name, and then it became Freddie Freeman is potentially going to sign with the Yankees. And I think these are all real possibilities. I think the Yankees are pretty much all but moved on from Luke Voit. I think if Luke Voit is still a Yankee or still the Yankees first baseman in 2022, something had to have gone really wrong. I think their first plan or their plan A is to bring in an Olsen or to bring in a Freeman, and the distant third is to re-sign Anthony Rizzo. I really do think that that's their plan. They know that they need a lefty bat in that lineup. Obviously, Matt Olson is younger. He plays great defense. His swing in Yankee Stadium is perfect as a lefty. But I will say, if I'm being completely honest, my personal favorite would be Freddie Freeman. I think he's just the perfect signing for this team. He's a veteran leader. He has a great approach at the plate. You don't need him to pull the ball to be successful. He plays a great defense. Is he a little bit on the older side? Of course. But I don't think he's really had a bad year since he came into the major leagues. Like, if you look at his stats, he's 32 years old. He's been productive every single year. He stays on the field. He's durable. And I think he'd be a great fit in a Yankee pinstripe uniform.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of looking at it, right? And I'm looking at like the possibilities as far as like what the Yankees can improve their offense with this offseason. And there's not really that many options out there, right?
Yeah.
Especially on the free agent market. It's like when I look at guys who have the potential impact to affect the Yankees in a great way, number one is Carlos Correa. And I'm sure we'll touch on him at some point tonight. But I think he's the guy who could have the most impact on the Yankees. But as far as like, I guess realistic possibilities, I would say Freddie Freeman's number two, right on top of like Matt Olson, because I think Freddie Freeman does provide a little bit more value than Olson, even though Olson might be a little bit more realistic. But I think if you look at the potential of Freddie Freeman in the Bronx, you look at a left-handed hitter who's an absolute beast with the bat. You look at a solid defensive first baseman. You look at a leader in the clubhouse who was just won a World Series. I think that he would probably be the ideal fit. And kind of like you said, like, is he the most realistic? Don't really think so. But I think the important thing to remember is that the Yankees can get it done, right? And I think that's the case with every single option out there. Can they get everyone if they wanted to? Could they go out and get Correa, Rodon, Olson, and Freeman if they really wanted to? Yeah, 1,000%. But will they? That's always an entirely different discussion that I feel like we have every single offseason. And I think that's why we haven't really heard too much discussion about Freddie Freeman, because as we've seen the Yankees trend, the front office trending the last couple of years, it's not really trending in the direction where we would be expecting a guy like Freddie Freeman in offseason, when maybe like 10 years ago, Freddie Freeman would be our guy, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Freddie Freeman's case is a little bit weird. Obviously, with the lockout, all these free agencies are a little bit weird. But, the Yankees are, regardless of them being, serious players in a free agent market or not, their name is always going to get floated around with the big names, especially if they have a hole there, like a first baseman, like a shortstop. I feel like people just hear the Yankees and they want to up their offers, or at least agents still think so. Could it be that Freddie Freeman's agent is still saying the Yankees are heavily involved, or the Yankees are still a potential landing spot for Freddie Freeman if he doesn't re-sign with the Braves, just to make sure that the Braves get to that sixth year for 180 mil? It's possible. And Cashman will never really reveal that if we're really in on a player, and I don't think he can due to the CBA, even though there's no CBA right now. I think that's just a thing that they've kind of agreed on. You can't say you're out on a player because it hurts their market. So is it possible that the Yankees are never really in on Freddie Freeman? Of course, but I do think the Yankees are interested, and I will say this: if the Braves don't pay Freddie Freeman, someone is going to. So
yeah,
it's not like Freddie Freeman's going to be like praying and begging on his knees to get a sixth year from somebody. Like, he is a perennial all-star. He's an MVP candidate every single year. He is a World Series champion at this point. He's still and yes, he's 32, but that's not like he's not 38. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Someone's gonna pay him, and especially with the National League implementing a DH, that just opens up or as we assume, that's just gonna open up his market even more. So if the Braves don't want to pay him and they want to play hardball with Freddie Freeman, guess what? He's gonna be a Dodger, or he's gonna be a Yankee, or he'll be an Oakland A. Like, you know what I mean? There's probably not the A's, but someone's gonna pay him. Yeah, the A's are definitely
That's
not
probably like the
paying anything.
worst team to throw out
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
but like, yo,
no.
you'll be all right. But no, I agree 1,000%. And I don't know. I think it'll just come down to whether or not the Yankees really want to just break the bank this offseason. We haven't really seen them do it before the lockout, but maybe once the lockout ends, we'll see them kind of go for it all. I don't know. But yo, shout out to Lori C with the 3-month membership. I don't know why it's not letting me pull it up on the screen, but yo, shout out to you, Lori. She says, do we really want a team of 37-year-olds making 30 mil in a few years? This kind of relates to what you just said. And to me, I don't, bro, if I look at a 37-year-old Freddie Freeman, that means that he would have gotten what? Like a 5+ year contract if he's 32 right now. That's quick math. I'm kind of nice with it. I think I'd be cool with that, bro. Like if you have to, I would have been cool with it as long as the Yankees won one World Series, at least one World Series in his time. But that's something I worry about 5 years from now, dude.
Yeah.
That's not something I'm going to worry about today. I'm never going to be a person who's worrying about things, especially in the baseball world, 5 years from now, bro. Also, it's not my money. So what the hell do I care? Who knows where we're going to be 5 years from now, bro? Like the Yankees could have a budget of $700 million by then. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about what is going to help the Yankees win now. And Freddie Freeman will help the Yankees win now.
And that's really the key is like, I think Yankees fans, we're so far removed from our last World Series that it's like, we kind of forget that's the whole point of everything we're doing. Like we're not here to make the best, business decisions. We're not here to have a great payroll in 2029. Like we're here to win a World Series. So I guarantee you when we signed Garrett Cole a couple years ago, no one was like, well, what is the payroll going to look like in that 8th or 9th year? Like nobody cared because we realized that he helped our potential of winning a World Series in the near future. Same thing with Giancarlo Stanton. I guarantee you that last couple series against the Red Sox where he was going out of his mind, just completely ballistic, no one was thinking, well, what's going to happen when he gets the end?
I guarantee you at least one person out there was.
That's true.
100%.
That's true. I forget how Yankees fans are sometimes. But let's be realistic. Like if we sign Garrett Cole and we're paying him $30-something million in the later half of his 30s, same thing with Stanton. We're assuming the same thing is going to happen with Judge. All these guys are going to get paid into their late 30s.
Yeah. And
you win a World Series. Let's just say one. Let's just say they win one in like 2026 or hopefully not that far removed. But let's just be realistic. Let's say in that time frame they win one World Series. I'm completely okay with that because at the end of the day, my goal as a fan every single year when I watch the Yankees is not to have them have the most flexible salary or to stay under the luxury tax. Like I don't care about any of that. I never did. I never will. I want them to win the World Series. I don't care who suits up in that uniform. I don't care if he was like people talk about Carlos Correa. I don't care that he was a part of the Astros scandal. I don't. I was upset about it at the time. I just want to win. Like I'm being just completely honest with you.
Dude, you know what I'm saying? I want to pull up this comment right here from Chibuzi because this is the greatest comment I've seen all night. Let's buy a World Series. Who cares what people think? Bro, this is it. This is it right here. I'm so sick of people being like, oh, but we don't want to buy a World Series. Bro, there's no such thing as buying a World Series. There's no such
by the way, Pat, if there was, I'm okay with that. Like
same.
And what's funny is like, everyone has that Mets fan or a few Mets fans in their friend group that, they make fun of the Yankees or Yankees fans. Oh, you guys are just you're bandwagons. You guys buy your rings. Look at how happy the Mets are right now.
Yeah.
After paying Lindor, sure they traded for him, but he's only still there because they dished out $300 million. You paid Scherzer, you paid Marte, you paid Canna, you paid Escobar. Like you're excited about that. So if you win the World Series, Mets fans, and this is not gonna, let's keep it cordial. I respect the Mets, and I'm happy for what they're doing. I'm jealous, of course.
Well, your cousin's on the team, so
yeah. Well, shout out to my cousin Frankie Lindor. I saw him on Christmas, and good time. But anyways, if the Mets win the World Series this year, you're not going to hear Yankees fans talk. Well, maybe some, but real Yankees fans are not going to be like, "Oh, you bought your World Series," because we understand as Yankees fans, to win World Series, you have to pay free agents. Not only do you have to pay free agents, you have to pay your own guys. Winning costs money. It just does. Not everyone can be the Rays. Not everyone can be when the Oakland Athletics were successful. Like it just doesn't happen like that. You have to pay your players. You have to pay free agents that are going to make an impact. That's just how it works, especially in a market like New York where you have the money.
But bro, like here's my thing, right? So I never understood why the luxury tax scares teams like the Yankees away from spending more, right? If I compare it to a real world scenario, let's look at like Elon Musk, right? I think that he's paying the most in taxes out of anyone in history. He's paying like 11 billion in taxes. Do you think that that's going to prevent him from putting like more money into Tesla next year?
Of course not.
No. Bro, he's going to double it and then pay double in taxes next year because
Yeah.
that's just how it works. Instead of the Yankees worrying about how much money they're going to have to pay in taxes, bro, just do what's best for business because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Bro, if we had people in society worrying about how much money they had to pay in taxes, we would go nowhere in life. Bro, technology would stop progressing. Everything would stop because you just can't live life like that. And that's why, as the Yankees, as one of the most rich and successful franchises in sports, bro, we're not even talking Major League Baseball. We're talking one
In
of the
the world.
wealthiest teams in sports.
In the world,
If
the entire
the
world.
fact that you're not going out there and absolutely pissing on teams like the Tampa Bay Rays in free agency every year makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and like you said, you have to spend in order to get, right? Like if you look at the Dodgers every year, even when they won the World Series, they look at how can we improve, and whatever it costs, they're gonna do it. Whether it's on the trade market, we're gonna trade some of these prospects, or we have to pay a free agent, right? They paid Trevor Bauer. He had a whole issue and controversial situation going on with him. So they're like, okay, perfect. We're going to trade and get one of the best shortstops in baseball because our shortstop might leave in free agency, which he did. And so now they have another great shortstop on their hands. And they also got Max Scherzer for half a season. Did he resign? No, but they went for it. That's the point. It's like
Yeah.
you have to give your team the best opportunity to win. And to do that, you have to spend money and you have to trade prospects. Now, I will say the only reason why I can kind of understand being under the luxury tax certain years is because they take away a lot of international money to sign international guys. So when you have like a Jason Dominguez, you have Roderick Arias, and the guy that I think next year I think is Brandon Maia. These guys are supposedly like some of the best guys to come out of the international pool, and you want the most money you can to sign them because look at what happened with Wander Franco. We were over the luxury tax. We couldn't pay him. He ended up going to the Rays, and now this guy is like going to be a top 3 shortstop in baseball.
Yeah.
So I do understand it in that sense, but you already signed Dominguez, right? You just got the number one international guy again this year. You're apparently rumored to have the guy next year. At what point are we going to say, okay, we have our international guys. We need guys that are going to help us win now? Because sure, these international signings and Volpe and Trey Sweeney and all these prospects, they look all nice and great. But are you trying to win a World Series in 15 years or in 10 years? Or are you trying to win it in 2022? Like we're not the Yankees not a rebuilding team. We're not trying to
I'm not trying to
stockpile
be
draft
40
picks.
at a World Series parade,
Yeah,
dude.
I mean,
I want to go when I'm young.
I want to go in now, and I want to go when I'm 40. So like you're building your farm system, and that's great, and I love that. You should absolutely be doing that, and that's smart, right? I'm never gonna knock the Yankees front office for building the farm system because that's how you also make trades, right? If you develop, like people are complaining we have too many shortstops. Obviously, not every single one of these shortstops is going to be on the Yankees in the future, right? Some of them are going to get traded. I'm sure that'll happen sooner than later. You know, we have it's very bloated at shortstop. But at what point is that going to happen, right? Like, if Anthony Volpe is your guy and you're not going to sign Carlos Correa, then call his ass up and let's get rolling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, enough with this stopgap and let's do it next year nonsense. Like, let's get the best team on the field and try to win a World Series.
But now here's my thing, right? Like you look at that philosophy that we kind of talk about now where it's like they never really seem to like pull the trigger and like absolutely are like this is the year. And I think that's kind of what prevented them from winning a World Series in this window, right? Because no matter how close they came to kind of like reaching the World Series, it always seemed like, oh, we can't like really go all out because we have to get ready for the future. Like they couldn't trade for Garrett Cole after the 2017 season because they had to hold on to Clinton Andujar because they thought that they were going to be the future. They couldn't trade for anyone after the 2018 or 2019 season because they had to hold on to Glaber. They thought he was the future. They just haven't been able to trade any of these prospects. Clark Schmidt, Devi Garcia, Chance Adams. Bro, you could make an entire list of guys that they waited too late to trade and they ended up having no value. So it's just weird that the Yankees just never seem to be able to just pull that trigger when they need to and go all out, bro. Forget about what the future holds. Like I say this all the time. I don't care about all these prospects. And we mentioned like how loaded the Yankees farm system is at shortstop right now. I think we would genuinely be blessed to have at least one of them make the major league roster as like their starting shortstop. And I don't think that's me being like pessimistic to say. That's just how baseball works, bro. We have like maybe like 4 or 5 top level minor league shortstop prospects right now. And I genuinely think that we'll be very, very lucky if we see at least one of them on a consistent basis at any point within the next 5 years at the major league level.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I think the Yankees, and I was a big defender of Brian Cashman for the past few years, and I still think he is doing a pretty good job with this organization. I want to give him his credit. He has gotten a lot of talent in here, especially into the farm system. But there has to be some kind of balance. It almost went like Brian Cashman. It seems like Brian Cashman went from this, I'm going to get the guys that are needed to win no matter what type of GM to I'm trying to build this Yankees organization for the next 20 years GM. And if we don't win the world, if we have enough to win the World Series, that's almost like house money. Like 2019, It seemed like it was house money because the needs were so obvious. If the Yankees got 1 or 2 starting pitchers at the deadline in 2019, we are looking back at 2019 as one of the best years in franchise history. It just is what it is. That offense was ridiculous, and it was very clear that we needed a starting pitcher. And I think it almost seems like when we do make a big move, it's like, okay, that's the one big move that you get. Hold on to that one. And then after that, it's like, sorry, you got to figure it out. Like we signed Garrett Cole and everyone's like, yo, this might be the start of like the team coming back, like the evil empire being back. They're going to spend whatever it takes. Let's lock up Judge. Let's lock up all these guys that are going to be our core. Let's sign whoever else we need and let's go for it. And then it was like we signed Garrett Cole and it was like
twiddling our thumbs, bro.
Yeah, it's like that's it. Like that there's your guy. It's like, yeah, that's great. And we have an ace now and I'm very appreciative. I love Garrett Cole and I love everything about him and I hope he stays with us forever. Well, he has to. He's never going anywhere. But then what? Like look at our rotation behind this guy.
Dude,
we never addressed it.
It's really dangerous. That's why, like, I kind of look at the Yankees rotation right now, right? I think I talked about this with Sean on Thursday. Dude, it's Garrett Cole and then 4 question marks.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, we could break it down really quickly now, but Luis Severino, no guarantee at the number 2 hole. Like, dude, we haven't seen Luis Severino as a starting pitcher since when? Last part of 2019, I think. Yeah. And then in that 3 spot, you got Jordan Montgomery. Cool. Like, I'm not in love with Monty. He's a cool, like, 4 or 5, I guess. In that 4 spot, you got Nestor, I guess. Dude, like, I don't know. A lot of people disagree with me when I say this, but until proven otherwise, I'm viewing Nestor Cortez as a fluke. I have no reason to believe otherwise. And then number 5, it's like Tyone/Heel/Herman. Dude, regardless, the Yankees rotation isn't looking too pretty outside of Garrett Cole going in next year.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like there's anything that they can do to substantially improve it, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, listen, I will say this. The Yankees had a lot of success with their starting rotation last year. And credit to them. I think a big part of that is Matt Blake. I think Matt Blake put a lot of work in with these pitchers and got the best out of them. And I think he's a big reason why we did have a lot of success with the starters. But at a certain point, let's get we can't just rely on good coaching to win World Series. Like it's not how baseball works. Like if you look at football is more like, this offensive coach has a scheme and let's get the best guys for this scheme so that he can win. We might not get the best guys like as far as talent, or we might not get the guys that we have to pay the most or the biggest names, but we're going to get the guys that work for this scheme. If you have a coach that runs a spread offense, you're not going to get a pocket passer. Baseball doesn't really work like that. If you need 5 starting pitchers, you need 5 ballers. Get the best 5 starting pitchers you can get because your team is as good as your as pitching in general, but really you're starting pitching because they set the tone. You can be a great team with Garrett Cole on the mound, but how good are you when Domingo Germán is on the mound? How good are you when Nestor Cortez is on the mound? How good are you when rookie Luis Gil, who, obviously he had a great success when he started, but we have no idea what he's going to be in the years coming. Like, how good is your team when your bona fide ace is not on the mound? And I really think, Garrett Cole kind of struggled towards the end of the year because of that injury. I'm hoping it was because of that injury, but
I'm
we kind
assuming it was. There's
it
nothing
had
to
to be.
believe otherwise.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm super confident in Cole moving forward. I think he's motivated, more motivated than ever, and I expect a big year out of him. But you saw kind of like when your number one guy is not on, the rest of the Yankees roster is just not reliable right now. And if they're like kind of just going with that and saying, well, we had injuries and some guys underperformed, like maybe there's a reason why they underperformed. Maybe your manager is not the right guy to lead this group. Maybe the hitting coaches were the problem. And credit to them, they just the hitting coaches. Matt Blake is still there as the pitching coach, so that's all good and well, but at the end of the day, you need guys. You need guys who are going to come in and produce. You need good defense. Our defense was atrocious last year. Our base running was atrocious last year. Like, I'm not gonna let me not be too negative.
Well, it was all Phil Nevin's fault, apparently, right? But listen, you mentioned one thing, football, right? Dude, going on another point right here. I have fallen in love with the sport of football, bro, more than anything else. Bro, everyone knows I wasn't really like the biggest football guy. As the weeks go by, you guys keep hearing me, oh yeah, I've gotten like a little bit invested into football. Bro, I'm fully in. If I was a lock, I'd be clocked in with the combination. No one knows what the combination is, dude. Because I'm so locked into the sport right now. I watched football all weekend, bro. I put in some bets on DraftKings. Nothing too fancy. Won a little bit of money, but that's fine. That's not why I love the sport so much, dude. I love the sport because it's so exciting, bro. Every aspect of it, from like when the whistle is first blown to every single like stuff that goes on during the game, bro. The excitement towards the end. Maybe it's just because all these games were so exciting this weekend in the past couple weeks. But dude, I think you're looking at a sport that gets it. I think the NFL gets it. And I think if I'm kind of looking at like all the sports leagues in my mind right now, I understand now why football is the most popular sport in America. It's the most fun. It allows the players to just be the most expressive, I guess. Like, bro, you look at like the football playoffs compared to like MLB playoffs. I'm sorry, MLB playoffs have their moments, but like MLB's number 2 in my eyes, but football's got to be number 1, dude. It's so much fun.
And I hate to be the Debbie Downer here, but I think the more you get invested in football, the more it's going to let you down. And I don't mean this in a way of like it's not going to be. That's true, but I think it's more of like the NFL has a very funny way of just like really ruining things for you. Like, they don't allow celebrations the way that they should. Like, they have a new taunting rule implemented. Like, they just find ways to ruin it
actually
for you. So like, yeah, like there's this. It's actually just started this year. It's like if a guy makes a big tackle and he like stands up over the guy and like flexes, they'll throw a flag, and it'll be 15-yard penalty. And like that's a new thing that they just implemented, and it's terrible, and everyone hates it. And so like when you say the NFL gets it, I kind of get triggered, and I'm like, they have a terrible commissioner.
Super casual here, because I look at it. Dude, I look at it like I see the guys like dancing after a touchdown. I'm like, yeah, I like that. Big fan of it.
But that's the thing is like, even with a terrible commissioner, the NFL still runs laps around MLB. So like the fact that baseball is already considered a boring sport by casual fans, and they have a terrible commissioner on top of that, it's not a good recipe. Like the NBA has a really good commissioner. They're exciting. The only thing with that is like they're very top heavy. Like slowly but surely, the NBA is starting to get a little bit more balanced. But for a while, like it was just the same 4 teams fighting playoffs every year, or the same 2 really. The one sport I would say that like I feel like people keep telling me I'm not really into it too much, but that really does get it is the NHL. I feel like hockey really gets it. They're really exciting. Their playoffs are like super fun to watch, and I think hockey gets it.
Yeah, people say that, but like I haven't got into it. And like, dude, apparently the Islanders have like a new arena in Elmont. And dude, I live pretty close. Like, I've heard good things. Jalen, you're lagging a little bit. Oh, okay. There goes Jalen. But yeah, like I was saying, like, dude, NHL, I mean, they seem like they get it. Johnny in the chat, he said, Pat hasn't seen a playoff hockey game. Hockey's the most exciting sport out there. Dude, I've seen one hockey game my entire life, and it was okay. Like, there was one fight, but it was nothing too special. I think Jalen's back now. Oh, there you go. There you go. You're back.
We're back.
No, like I was saying, I've only seen like one hockey game before, and it was cool. I think it was just like a regular season hockey game. But like, dude, they let them fight. Like they seem like they get
Yeah.
it. Like I don't really understand the sport too much, but the NHL seems like they get it. But if I'm looking at like the four major sports in the United States, right? Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. I think out of all of them, basketball is probably like the lowest on the totem pole. Like at least in my own eyes, as far as
Oh,
like
okay.
excitement goes.
Yeah.
Like I'm not talking like popularity wise, because it's probably like number 2 as far as
Yeah,
popularity.
for sure.
But I'm thinking like if I would want to like sit down and watch like a random playoff game, I don't really see the taste in basketball right now.
Well, I think yeah. Well, I'm a diehard baseball fan, so I'm gonna watch. And the Yankees have been in the playoffs often, so I'm probably gonna watch the MLB playoffs more often than any other sport besides football. But I think if you watched the Knicks right in the playoffs last year for the first time in a little while, like those games were so exciting. Even though the Knicks are like they lost in 5 games to the Hawks, it was so exciting. Like Trae Young became a villain in MSG, and I think the thing about basketball is like it has such an influence on pop culture, like
Sure.
between sneakers and like all the celebrations and stuff. Like NBA players are such big celebrities, like bigger than any other
Yeah.
sport. Football players are celebrities in a sense, but like you really have a handful of guys that are recognizable because they wear helmets. So like you don't really like a casual person doesn't know who Aaron Donald is, and he's one of the best players in the NFL.
It's a good point.
Like you have Odell Beckham, who's probably a big celebrity because he played in New York and he has like the hair and like he's a very recognizable figure, but there's not a ton of NFL players that are big celebrities. Same thing with baseball. Obviously, the best baseball players in the world are not even like recognized on the street most of the time. If Mike Trout was walking down the street, I would know who he is, but like if I'm walking with my friends who don't follow baseball seriously, they probably just walk by and see just a regular dude, like, oh, that dude's jacked, but like, not think twice about it.
Yeah.
NHL
And
again, I probably couldn't name most NHL players to begin with, but I
I
think
could name
basketball is
maybe
the
one.
biggest. Yeah, I think basketball has the biggest like star, whatever you want to call it, like
Star
star
power.
factor.
I think that's
Yeah,
fair.
star power.
Yeah, for sure. And I think maybe like I think the main reason why I'm kind of like turned away from basketball playoffs, one, because I think it has like the same amount of rounds as MLB, but I think even the first round is like to 7 games, I believe, right?
No, basketball. Yeah, basketball has more rounds than MLB. MLB is like the
They have
quickest playoff.
4 rounds, right?
Yeah, they have the first. I forget what they call
I
it,
feel
but
like
like
basketball playoffs are like 2 months.
they have 8 teams that make it from both, and there's no bye weeks, so it takes a while, and so
Yeah,
like
it's 2 months.
great teams like last year the Nets and the Bucks played, and it was in the conference semifinals, which is the second round. So you have the quarterfinals, the conference semifinals, the conference finals, and then the NBA finals. In the conference semifinals, you had the two best teams playing. So it was like basically the conference finals in the second round. So one of the best teams got home early. It kind of was a little weird.
Bro, let me tell you, like, I don't know if this is just like me being like maybe I'm like an old head at this point. I don't know. But I was watching like the football games this weekend, and dude, I don't know if I'm the only one that was kind of rooting for this, but I really wanted to see Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers in like the conference finals, I guess they're called next week. And dude, of course, that's like the opposite of what we got. But is that like me being like an old person now, like wanting like the two old quarterbacks that like I know to be in it?
I'm back.
Bro, I've just been staring at the camera this whole time. Did you hear my question or no?
Yeah. No, okay. So
Like, I really wanted to see Brady versus Rodgers.
here's the thing: is like Tom Brady, I think, went from like this villain to people appreciating his greatness in a span of like 3-ish years. Everyone hated him. Now everyone kind of like wants to see him continue to dominate.
Yeah.
This was the first year that it was like, okay, we've had enough because all the nonsense that's gone on with his team. I was completely okay with him losing, and I think the Rams are a really exciting team. And as a New York Giants fan, a lot of people hate Odell Beckham Jr. I love him still, and I really want to see him in the Super Bowl. So I wanted the Rams to win. I'm also a big supporter of what the 49ers are doing. I love how they just run the ball down people's throats and they play tough defense. They're hard-nosed. I love their coaching staff. And Aaron Rodgers has now stepped into like that villain role because he's just like super cocky and I don't know, like
It's
he
a
knows,
complete 180, bro.
yeah, he knows how good he is. And he's always been like this. He's always been kind of cocky and like says kind of questionable things, but like I don't know, this year, like he was just really on it. Like he was like, I'm not coming if you guys don't want to. Like it was just really weird. And then like
Yeah.
he did the whole like lying about his vaccine thing, and then everyone really started hating him. And yeah, they kind of like flipped. But it would have been fun to watch. But their teams were not where I wanted them. Like the Packers had a good team, but he hit a lot. Aaron Rodgers hit a lot in that team. Their special teams was really garbage. That's why they lost that game against the 49ers. And the Bucks had a great team, but they had a ton of injuries, and I didn't really want to see a depleted Bucks team against what I considered a pretending Green Bay Packers team. So at the peak, of course, you always want to see the best play the best, but not this year.
Here's the thing, though. I'm super casual, bro. Like all I wanted, like, dude, I know who Matthew Stafford is, but like, do I really want to see him like move on? No. Like, dude,
Yes,
I want
bro.
to see Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady because I know them, bro. Like,
No.
that's like my childhood.
No, but this is good because now you can kind of see like where the league is now. Like Matt Stafford has been this great quarterback for years. He's always dealt with nonsense. He was on the Detroit Lions. You know, he had Calvin Johnson. He's had guys over the years, Kenny Golladay, like all these guys, but they've never really put him in a situation to really, really succeed. And this is the first time that he has like a stacked team around him. And you know, he started off the year great, and then he struggled a little bit, and he's now turning it on. Cooper Kupp is one of the biggest kept secrets in the NFL until this year. Like he just completely has gone off this year. He like has like 4 games under 100 yards receiving, and one of the best years ever for a receiver. And had an amazing game against the Bucks. Like 9 receptions, 180 something yards. Like the biggest play of the game at the end of almost at the end of regulation to set up the game-winning field goal. People are starting to find out about all these new guys. Well, Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp are not new, but guys that were not really known before, who are playing on big stages. I think Deebo Samuel is another guy in the 49ers. People are learning about him. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they're one of the best stories of the NFL playoffs this year. Like they were a terrible team a couple years ago.
Bro,
Like
I'm a fan.
awful.
I like this. I really like this.
It's fun, man. It's really fun once you
There's
get
a
into
lot
it.
of
And
storylines.
you know what? You know, my advice to you as a new football fan: do not
Yeah.
pick a team, bro. The best way to watch football is by doing fantasy football and betting. Like because you have interest in every game.
Which
You
is
don't
now
have
legal
to
in New
like
York.
it's very legal. I only do it because it's legal. I'm not participating in any illegal activity. No,
Only if you're in a legal state. Also, wait, this is perfect timing since we're hyping stuff up. Yo, chat. You're going to hear me talk about this 24/7 from now until the day I die, bro. SeatGeek. Use code UnhingedNY. $20 off your first purchase. Do it. I'm going to create graphics. I'm going to create videos. I'm going to put links in the description. But you guys get the first ever shout out for SeatGeek. So shout out to SeatGeek. We love you. You're legends.
anytime
Dude,
I buy tickets to a Yankee game, I buy it through SeatGeek.
bro, I only use SeatGeek. SeatGeek might be the best platform to buy tickets of all time. Just saying.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, kind of like putting football aside, I guess we kind of mainly talked about football here because I think that it's just a perfect explanation of like how MLB is fumbling the ball. No pun intended there. Because like you look at me, I say this all the time, bro. I consider myself a die-hard Yankees fan. And to be losing me to a sport like football, MLB is in serious danger, bro. They're in very serious danger. But Chase with the $5 donor, appreciate you so much, my man. He says people forget that we are sitting at 92 wins with crappy years out of 75% of our roster. One piece and half of those players turning around equals the answer. This is where I kind of get iffy because there's no guarantee that half of those players are going to turn it around, right?
I don't think. I think if you are banking on any of those players to turn it around, I think we're being way too like that's what that's where the Yankees optimism is. They think, oh, Gleyber had a down year, he's going to turn it around. Aaron Hicks got hurt, he's going to turn it around. Who else? Andor is going to be a good hitter again. Like all of our pitchers that didn't pitch well, they're going to turn around. Chapman's not going to have a terrible middle of the season again. Like I just don't. Gary Sanchez, another one. I just don't know if I'm on the train of the team's fine, they just underperformed. Like that's a very I guess lazy is kind of the word that I'm thinking. Like is there anything you could really do about DJ LeMahieu? No, because you signed him for 6 years. He's going to be on this roster no matter what. He doesn't make a ton of money. He's making 15 mil. So he's going to be in your lineup for the next 4 years. It just is what it is. So do you hope that he turns it around? Of course. Like you have to hope that a lot of these guys do turn it around. But to bank on that and say, we're going to go all in with the same team that has not gotten us to the World Series since 2009, and like this core hasn't even sniffed the World Series since we fired Girardi. I don't know if I'm putting all my eggs in that basket. Like, yeah, I think Gleyber's going back to second, and I think he's going to have a good year. I think DJ is going to hit a little bit better than he did last year. I think beyond that, I don't like what makes me believe that anybody else is going to turn anything around.
Dude, it's so tough, but like maybe this is just my mind, like not being able to focus on one thing. There's one thing you mentioned in that little statement that you're not even going to guess that I'm about to run with.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
I'm ready.
DJ LeMahieu, you said he doesn't really make that much, right? $15 million. Bro, that kind of just like triggered something in my mind. Bro, we talk about the sport of baseball. A guy like DJ LeMahieu with a yearly salary of $15 million, bro, that's pocket change.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy?
No, it's
like
insane.
I feel like sometimes we don't realize this. Like, bro, if someone's getting like a 1 year, $3 million contract, we're like, oh, like that's an amazing deal for us, bro. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it is mind blowing. It's also like I feel like I don't know if it's because of video games or just because of how ridiculous some of these numbers have gotten over the years that like we're so desensitized to how much money they're actually making, like how much money $15 million or $3 million actually is. So like DJ LeMahieu making $15 million really seems like nothing, but like it's crazy how much more baseball players make than a lot of other sports. Like almost like besides soccer, the balance of contracts in the MLB are so crazily higher than like if you look at basketball, like you have guys playing for like $970,000. Like good players, like guys who sign like a guy will get cut from a team and then like sign a new contract with another team for the rest of the season and make like $2 million. Like, and they're like really good role players.
The money
like it doesn't make it's crazy.
Sports, the money that are in these sports is unreal, and like that's even like I don't know if like like the deal with what's going on in the UFC and stuff, but dude, that's one of the sports where like the fighters get paid nothing compared to like how much the organization itself makes. Like, do you keep up with it at all?
No, but I saw Logan Paul kind of speak on it and basically saying like he'll agree to do a fight. I think it was Jake Paul, and I think he was saying like he would agree to do a fight if they paid UFC like what UFC fighters what they were actually deserved and like gave them a percentage of stuff, dude. And like it kind of opened some eyes to it. Like he was 100% like calling them out and exposing them because these guys are putting their bodies on the line. The same way people talk about giving NFL players more guaranteed money because they could literally die on the field. Like the same thing with boxers and UFC fighters. Boxers get paid bank. Like just one boxing match, a guy could just do one, like have one and be good. Of course, you have to get to that level, but like boxers make money.
It's crazy. Like, like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Wilder, who lost that fight, made $20 million.
Insane.
Meanwhile, Francis Ngannou, who just he retained his UFC heavyweight championship on Saturday, made
Mhm.
$600,000,
It's
and he
crazy.
was in the main event, bro. We're talking a difference of like $20 million. When I'm almost positive, maybe the pay-per-views didn't make the same amount of money, but still, bro, the pays in all of these sports are so diverse and so crazy. But I'm
Yeah.
almost positive that UFC is the one that has the largest gap between like annual income and also like the fighter's income. But
And it's not like when people say like, oh, the WNBA versus the NBA, when obviously the NBA makes a
yeah,
substantial amount more
it's
money. Like
not the same.
the UFC grosses a ton of money and just decides to like not pay their fighters. And
Yeah.
it's yeah. They're the
Yeah.
UFC is the Yankees are probably going to get involved in UFC because they know a thing or two about not
Oh no,
reinvesting.
literally. No, yeah, it's not the same thing at all because the NBA is like $1 billion organization. Meanwhile, the WNBA maybe like couple. I don't know their annual income, but
It's
it's
not
nothing
it's
compared to
not
the NBA.
comparable. Yeah, it's not
But
comparable.
meanwhile, UFC is very comparable to whatever else is being thrown out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, Chase Glover with a $10 dono. Appreciate you so much, man. You absolute legend. 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 Thank
Wow,
you.
look at you spelling.
That's a noun. That's a noun, by the
Good
way.
job.
I think it's a noun,
No, it
right?
is. Wait,
Okay, cool.
no, I mean, yeah.
It could no, it could be.
No, it's a
Wait,
noun.
what?
It's a noun, but like legendary would be like describing. So
No,
that'd
but
be
what? No, no. But what if I'm like, you are a legend?
then that's a noun. That's a thing.
But what if I'm like, what's up, legend?
That's a noun. It's a thing.
Okay.
It's a thing. It's like you're saying like you're a teacher. Like it's the same thing.
So what if I'm like, what's up, stupid?
That's more of an adjective because you're. But like, are you calling him stupid or are you
What if
saying
it's
they
his
are
name?
stupid?
What
If
if
his
it's his
name is
name?
if his name is stupid, then it's a noun because nouns are names, things, or I forget what the description was. I'm so
Dude, I give
oh
up.
god.
I give up. I give up.
Ugh. That would
Chase
be a
with the ten
noun though.
dollars.
That would be a noun. Person,
Chase
place,
with
a
the ten
person,
dollar
place, or
dono.
thing. Nouns are person, place, or thing. So if you're
Yeah,
calling them stupid, then that would be like if their name is stupid, then it would just be their name. I don't think it would be a noun. Like if you were calling somebody a legend, then that would be a noun.
I'm being honest with you. I don't have the mental capacity for this right now.
I'm
I
gonna look
just
it up
don't.
because now I'm gonna be
Now
upset
you're
about it.
confused.
Yeah.
Chase says, I would say adding Olsen and Correa isn't the answer. A decent arm in either one of these, Freeman, Olsen, Correa, Story, then maybe a center fielder is the answer. Have to ink Judge, remember. I kind of agree, a little bit, like half and half, because like I do think that adding Olsen and Correa would kind of be an answer to the Yankees' woes, but also at the same time, their starting pitching would still be a concern. But I think if you added Olsen and Correa, there's no way to say like that wouldn't be an answer to the Yankees' problems, right?
Yeah, I don't really I just don't like the fact that as like Yankees fans, we can never agree that like adding good players will help. Like
Yeah,
I think, of course, do we have bigger holes than first base because we can pay Anthony Rizzo a substantially less amount than we would pay Freddie Freeman, and obviously Matt Olson would cost prospects. So you could do that. You obviously still have Luke Voigt, and Volpe's ready. And I'm of the belief that like I'm on the train of if we don't sign a shortstop, call up Anthony Volpe. Like let's stop wasting time. You
yeah.
know, I get that he played what high A last year or double A last year.
I think
I
Double A
get
he finished.
yeah, he got to double A and I get that, but like you see how young some of these guys come up that just start dominating the league, like Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, we're so obsessed with like this. Oh, we need to get them reps at each level to make sure. Bro, if this guy if you think this is your guy, call him up and let's see if he can be the guy. Because if
Yeah,
not, you need to move on. It's almost like the quarterback thing in football, not to bring it back to football, but like, oh, we're just gonna wait and see. Like, if your quarterback currently sucks, what are you losing by putting this guy in and getting him some experience? At the worst, you're getting him experience at the major league level, and you're gonna see what he's made of. And if he's not what you thought he was, and you feel like he needs another year to develop, then you give him another year. But at least you're not starting the clock deeper into an Aaron Judge's prime, deeper into Garrett Cole's prime, got Giancarlo Stanton, etc. Like, let's get rolling. But if not, then let's bring in a guy like the best shortstop in baseball. I feel like that's a pretty good replacement.
I
Um,
agree.
But
I
yeah, of
agree
course, I
1,000%.
definitely think we need another pitcher, another starting pitcher. And center field, I think, is such an underrated need for this team, bro. Like, we really, really do not want to go with Aaron Hicks as our everyday center fielder. I just
Yeah.
don't. And you remember, I used to be a big Aaron Hicks guy.
Yeah.
I am not
You
comfortable with
can't
that
be
guy.
anymore, bro.
Yeah,
But
I can't do it.
don't worry, because we'll have Brett Gardner as like the backup in case
Oh
Hicks gets
yeah,
hurt. Yeah, it's fine. But one thing, listen, I'm not going on a Gardner rant tonight, Chad. That's not
not
happening.
tonight.
Not tonight's not the night.
Yeah.
But one thing I do kind of want to bring up from that point that you just made, I'd like, dude, I'm feeling really philosophical tonight, right? I'm feeling very like spiritual. I'm feeling very like wholesome. You said we have to like appreciate the primes of like Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, right?
Hmm.
One thing that kind of sparked in my head is, yo, I'm looking at like the roster of Yankees that we have right now, right? I see guys like Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Aroldis Chapman to a point. And I don't think Yankees fans genuinely like realize and cherish the baseball that they're able to witness on the field, right? I don't think that Yankees fans really appreciate the team now the same way they did in the 90s and the early 2000s. Granted, the Yankees aren't winning World Series like they were back then, but we still have the talent on the team that I feel like back then fans just appreciated them more, right? Like I feel like they
Yeah.
looked at guys like Jeter and Posada and Tino Martinez and Bernie Williams and Mariano Rivera as like legends, bro. They genuinely did like that. These people could do no wrong. But now I feel like Yankees fans look at like even Aaron Judge sometimes, and I don't think they appreciate these guys. I don't think they appreciate the talent, bro. Bro, the entire Yankees fan base turned on Garrett Cole when he was hurt last year. Like I just feel like the Yankees fan base as a whole doesn't appreciate the talent that they have on this team. And yes, I hate to kind of like take like Cashman and the ownership's lead here, but we're so close. Like this Yankees team with just the addition of a few more pieces are so close to winning that title, and it pisses me off sometimes to see fans that are just like so unappreciative of like the players that we have on the roster, even though they haven't won a World Series.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting like little conundrum because, like you said, they haven't won, so it's weird. Like in New York, if you don't win, it's hard to get that respect. Like I feel like in on one foot, like if Giancarlo Stanton or Garrett Cole or Judge, even like a Joey Gallo kind of guy was a Yankee in '96, they'd be legends. And fans. It's
Yeah,
important to note that fans make legends. Like you can play as well as you want, but if fans don't like you, you're not going to be a legend in that fan base. It's just not going to work. You have to be accepted and cherished by the fan base. Look at Eli Manning again, bringing it back to football. But Eli Manning, every other like fan base thinks he sucks, thinks he's overrated, thinks he got lucky. Like that's just how they view Eli Manning. But if you're a Giants fan, Eli Manning's a legend, and you can't take that away from us because he brought us 2 Super Bowls. So I feel like in New York, winning has a lot to do with that. But I do agree. I think that we kind of do take a lot of these guys for granted. Like we forget how supremely talented a Giancarlo Stanton is.
generational talents.
It's kind of scary how much like people say like, oh, let's trade
Dude, it's
Giancarlo
weird,
Stanton.
bro. That would be
Like
like someone suggesting in like '98, yo, let's trade Jeter. Like it's
yeah,
just
or
not
like
something that
let's
would have
trade,
even come up.
let's bench Bernie Williams. Like it just yeah, it's a little weird, but like I will say though, like to play a little devil's advocate, I think if they win, all that goes away.
But is
And
that
when I
their
say
fault?
all, no, yes and no. I mean, the players play, so you can only root for the guys that are on the team. It's like once the year starts and the games are being played, you can't keep saying, "Oh well, this team is only not playing well because our coaching, or this team's not playing well because of Brian Cashman not constructing a better." Like you can obviously know that as a fan, but like when you're in the moment and you're watching the game and you're watching Domingo Herman give up back-to-back home runs against the Baltimore Orioles, it's like you're gonna hate Domingo Herman. You're not gonna think
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? In that moment, obviously, like when you take a step back and you think about it, or when we come on live and we talk about it, it's like this is why we need another starting pitcher. But like in the moment when Judge comes up with a chance to win the game in the last inning, and he doesn't come through, people get mad at Judge. And I think it also seems a lot worse now because of social media. I really do think that that's the main thing. It's like if social media was around in the 90s, you'd have a lot more yeah, exactly. And you'd have a lot more of like hating on guys because trust me, there's probably those same sentiments from Yankees fans back in that time, but it's definitely a lot more open and accessible now.
Yeah, and also, dude, I think it's like, dude, this is kind of just like society as a whole. It's sheep mentality, right? And I
Yeah.
think social media has a lot to contribute to that. Back in the day, bro, if someone had like a really weird take about Bernie Williams, they would maybe like throw it around their friend group, whatever. But now people have platforms, bro, and people
Mm-hmm.
like gravitate. Like, bro, you go into a Yankees Facebook group and you'll see all these crazy ideas that they just breed into each other, and everyone follows them like sheep. Back in the day, no one had a platform to do this. They'd turn on the news to watch Yankees highlights, and it would be like just turning on Yes Network. They're never going to talk bad about these players, so therefore everyone kind of views the players in like a good light. Bro, this is like a philosophical discussion here, but I think that's kind of like why sports stars and athletes as a whole now are kind of much more scrutinized than they used to be. And I think the old guys will always be treated as legends because they didn't have that criticism when they were playing like they do now, right?
Yeah.
All they really had were like just the reporters that were kind of getting on them sometimes.
Yeah.
But now it's the entire world on them 24/7 for every tweet, every Instagram story, every play they'll be tweeting about it, bro. It's unreal. But I think the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that we're appreciating the talent in the league as we should. Like even like a Mike
Yeah.
Trout, for example, bro, this dude would be like Ken Griffey Jr. if this were the 90s. Like it's just as simple as that. But apparently he just gets lost in the shuffle. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yo, Chase with another $5 dono. He says, I got it. Catcher J.R. Murphy. Oh, this is psychotic. First base Lyle Overbay, second base Steven Drew, shortstop Brandon Jury, third base Brendan Ryan, right field Lance Berkman, center field Guardy. I just threw up in my mouth, and left field an empty baseball bucket. So it's essentially Aaron Hicks. I like
I think
that.
the best person on that team would be the empty baseball bucket because I don't think I have. You know what's crazy? Actually, I did like Brandon Drury when we traded for him.
So did
I was excited for him. I liked his swing. He seemed like a versatile guy, but it never worked out. I'm also
Bro, I saw him as like a DJ LeMahieu type of guy.
yeah. But it kind of pissed me off because his injury is what set up Miguel Andujar.
I know.
Which is kind of upsetting because I hate Miguel Andujar. I hate him so much.
It's just so disappointing to see what he's become. Like, also, like we should have expected it.
I could have told you that that's what he was going to. Bro, I told everyone in 2018, yeah, this guy can hit. That's cute, but he should not be your third baseman going forward. He should not. He cannot field a ground ball, and he cannot throw the ball at first base. There's no way that he should be in your plans going in the future. As soon as he had that great 2018, he should have been shipped out. It just is like anybody who knows baseball could have seen that coming.
Yeah, and bro. It's so weird that the Yankees don't realize this, but like that casual fan can.
Yeah,
It just leads me to believe that like sometimes we think the Yankees are a little bit more intelligent than they actually are. Like, you know what I mean? Like they might not always like be all high and mighty. They might just seem like it with all their analytics and numbers and stuff. But at the end of the day, bro, baseball's baseball. And like whatever's going to happen is going to happen no matter how many times you put the numbers into a calculator. Sorry. The eye test is cool sometimes. No. Jalen, you should know this. You're a coach, bro.
No, it's so true. I think a lot of people, especially like now with all these like analytics being available to so many different people, like it obviously started at the highest level with all these technology and stuff. But even at the high school level, like it's so weird. You have these guys who are 10, 12, 11, like however, middle school age, 10 to 12. And you have their coaches or like private coaches telling them about their spin rate and their launch angles and like this axis of whatever. Like, bro, they're 10. Like the kid's 10 years old. Let him swing.
I think that's really dangerous.
Like, have fun, bro. It's a game at the end of the day. Like, of course, you want to teach proper mechanics and because you don't want kids to get hurt, but like, bro, like the amount of times that I can just say, like, I've watched these coaches, private coaches, or even in high school. Like in high school, you can start getting a little bit more serious. Like you want to see your exit velo, you want to see like your, all this different stuff, and it's good. You should pay attention to things and invest in yourself. And and learn about your body. But bro, like at the end of the day, the most important thing is like going out there and having fun with your boys. Like, and obviously as you get to the major leagues and the pro level or the college level, it starts to get more serious and you start paying attention to things like trends and analytics and metrics and all that stuff. But like we made it this far by watching and taking notes and watching video. I'm pretty confident that like a lot of that stuff is just fluff. Like you really, really don't need all these crazy, ridiculous numbers. And maybe this is like my final straw for like never getting the Yankees manager job because they'll never hire anyone who thinks this way. But like, it's just so frustrating that you see people getting hired just because they know how to read computers. Like, love Matt Blake, but I think the reason why Matt Blake is successful is not just because he understands analytics, it's because he knows how to relate those analytics to a player. Like that's one of the biggest things they said in his press conferences. If anyone could read those numbers and understand what they mean, but to be able to convey that information to a player and teach you how to do it and teach you how to improve yourself, like that's a whole nother thing. And so like the personal element of baseball has just like completely, and that's actually, it's funny. It's one of the first articles I wrote for the Unhinged website is like what happened to the human element of baseball. And it's sad, bro, because I coach high schoolers and I see what it looks like when kids are just out there having fun and not swinging a bat and immediately looking up to see what the exit velo was, or like throwing a bullpen and looking up to see what my pitch velocity was, or throwing a ball across the diamond and what was my velo on my throw? Like, bro, did you get the out? Yes or no? Yeah. You know what I mean? Did you make the play?
You know what I have to say to wrap things up, Jalen?
Talk to me.
Take that, nerds.
Yeah.
With that being said, that's gonna wrap things up for today's episode of Unhinged Live. That's 3 syllables. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Unhinged. Oh yeah, bro, I'm gonna roll with my grammar tonight. But with that being said, it's gonna wrap things up. Appreciate you all for stopping by. Like I said, during the lockout / off season, whatever you want to call this, I don't know, pain, I guess. We're going live every Monday and every Thursday. I'm gonna bring on guests every single time because I'm tired of talking to myself. There's nothing to talk about baseball wise, so that's why we got friends. That's all you need in life, friends. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. I'll see you guys next time. You guys know the deal. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. See you all next time. Peace.